What if the most important conversation happening in any room isn't the one being spoken out loud? Think about that for a second. Every time you interact with another person, there's a second conversation running underneath the surface, one made of micro-expressions. Body language, vocal tone, and behavioral patterns that most people never consciously notice, and yet your brain is already processing all of it. And the fascinating part, psychology has mapped many of these hidden signals, and once you know what to look for, reading people becomes less like a superpower and more like a skill you simply haven't practiced yet. Here are 10 psychological principles that can help you understand what people are really communicating. Watch for the gap between words and body language. Cognitive psychologists call this leakage, when someone's true emotional state slips past their conscious control. A person can choose their words carefully, but the body tends to tell a different story. If someone says they're fine, but their arms are crossed tightly, their jaw is set, and they're barely making eye contact, the body is communicating what the words are hiding. Research consistently shows that nonverbal cues carry more emotional truth than verbal ones, especially under stress. 2. Pay attention to what people repeat. What someone brings up again and again, unprompted, reveals what their mind is preoccupied with. This isn't just about topics. Repetition is a window into someone's unresolved concerns, their fears, or their deepest values. If someone keeps returning to how much they work, or how others have wronged them, or how things used to be better, that pattern is meaningful. 3. Notice how they treat people who can do
nothing for them. This is one of the clearest behavioral signals a person can give you. How someone speaks to
a waiter, a receptionist, or a stranger asking for directions reveals far more about their character than how they treat someone they want to impress. It's also a reliable indicator of empathy, a core trait that shapes how people behave. In relationships, in teams, and under pressure, force listen for what they don't say. Selective silence is deeply psychological.
Someone consistently avoids a topic, deflects specific questions, or gives unusually vague answers in an otherwise detailed conversation. The absence
itself is information. The brain tends to fill gaps with comfortable narratives, but the gap is often where the truth
Lives 5. Observe how they respond to other people's good news. Here's something interesting that social psychologists have studied closely. A person's reaction to someone else's success tells you about their sense of security, their self-worth, and how they experience. The world, people who feel internally secure tend to celebrate others genuinely. People who feel threatened or envious often minimize, redirect, or subtly compete. Neither response is a moral verdict. It's a psychological pattern worth understanding. 6. Watch for tells. During discomfort, everyone has a baseline, a natural way they move, speak, and hold themselves when they're relaxed. That baseline under pressure is where genuine emotion surfaces. A sudden change in speech pace, touching the face or neck,
a shift in posture, or breaking eye contact at a specific moment. These aren't random. They're the nervous system responding.
Your own brain registers these shifts instinctively. Learning to consciously notice them is what makes the difference. 7. Pay attention to what makes them laugh. Humor is deeply revealing. What someone finds funny, and more importantly, what they find funny when they think no one is judging them, reflects their values, their insecurities, and even their worldview. Psychologist Rod Martin's research on humor styles distinguishes between humor that connects people and humor that functions as social distance or self-protection. It's a subtle signal, but a remarkably consistent one. 8. Notice how they handle being wrong. This is one of the most psychologically loaded moments in any interaction. When someone receives a correction or realizes they've made a mistake, how they respond reveals their ego structure, their emotional regulation capacity, and their
capacity for growth. Some people integrate it quickly and move on. Others deflect, over-apologize, or become defensive. The response pattern of
not the single instance is what matters. 9. Observe their relationship with time. Chronopsychology, the study of how people relate to time, suggests that whether someone is primarily past-oriented, present-focused, or future-driven, shapes almost everything about how they. Some who constantly reference the past may be anchored there emotionally. Some obsessively focused on the past. The future may be uncomfortable with the present. This temporal bias often shows up in how people talk, what they prioritize, and how they make decisions. 10. Trust patterns over isolated moments. This is perhaps the most important psychological principle of a single interaction can be misleading. People are affected by mood, stress, context, and circumstance, but patterns are harder to fake when the same behavior appears across different situations, relationships, and time periods. It reflects something genuine about that. Person psychology, reading people well isn't about catching one telling moment, it's about quietly accumulating data over time. And here's what's worth reflecting on as you sit with all of this. The same skills that help you understand others also help you understand yourself, because most of these patterns, they exist in all of us. Noticing them in others is often the first step toward recognizing the ones we've been blind to in ourselves.